Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest today is John Ross. John Ross is the president and the founder of Laurel Canyon Live. He's a musical innovator, underlined exclamation point. John has developed alternative means of delivering live music and connecting bands and their fans. After accumulating over 200 motion picture credits, he's returned to his first love of music, and he's combined the two skills from traditional motion picture production and music production into a new venture that streams live music concerts to mobile devices and televisions, as well as motion picture theaters. It's called Laurel Canyon Live. John has worked with IMAX on their IMAX Live initiative, and recently Taylor Swift's Eras Tour motion picture, incredible, and Beyonce, the Renaissance Tour motion picture, and many more. And I hope he doesn't mind. I was up at the Ross house. If I say this, I think I heard rumors, not from John, but that Taylor Swift had just been there and that Beyonce was coming later that week. So I was right in the middle, and I thought, how cool. What a great place to be, and what a great thing to talk about. So in the first segment here, we talked about John Ross's early years and building towards his creation, this Laurel Canyon Live, which you guys are all going to want to download immediately before or after the show ends. John, we were talking, we finished up that you sold Digital Sound and Picture in 1999 to a subsidiary of Liberty Media. And then in 2006, you opened a new operation that was dedicated to providing more personalized space for filmmakers. Was that, I may have missed it. You may have told me, was that Laurel Canyon Live, or is that something a different?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't Laurel Canyon Live. It was basically doing live, not live. It was just doing post-production work, so film re-recording.
Okay.
So what we built actually here in Laurel Canyon is a commercial size dubbing stage. It happens to be in my house, but it does Atmos, IMAX, all these various different formats, and we did a whole bunch of motion pictures here. So it was, basically our film mixing portion of it was, filmmakers would come here. We did a bunch of films with David O. Russell, all sorts of different things. In fact, American Hustle was written right where I'm sitting right here in this house. It's by David.
Yes, I love that film. In fact, just looking at it, I was going to watch it. I own it. I was going to watch it again.
Yeah, a few weeks back. Literally, David would come and sit here and look out this window, and for about 3 months, and the doorbell would ring and be Amy Adams and Bradley Cooper and these folks again. Hi, it's David here. Yes, but so yeah, so this building, or this idea was built for doing exactly that, for doing motion picture work, and we did a whole bunch of that sort of thing. Laurel Canyon was born a little bit later. What happened is, prior to the pandemic, we did a small charity event with Colin Hay from Men at Work up here, and we set up some microphones, and some people came in, and we just did something to raise some money for charity. And when we were doing it, I realized that this space, this theater, is actually kind of cool for doing music. You have an enormously powerful, beautiful sounding sound system and a great projection, all these sorts of things. And had this idea about doing live streaming. Now, this is just prior to the pandemic. And we were working with a gentleman called Gary Getzman, who's Tom Hanks's partner in Playtime, who also happened to be the producer of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at the time. And I said, Gary, can I come with you to see how you do those shows? So we went with. He was nice enough to allow me to go to New York with them while he was doing it.
Did you have an idea that you wanted to go this direction when you asked if you could go with him? Okay, it wasn't by accident that you wanted to see how you did it. Okay, continue.
No, I just want to sort of verify that what I believed it to be is true. So, upon doing this, we realized that we had a lot of the infrastructure that they use for doing these sorts of live events actually here. So the idea was born to do this live streaming thing, and it's changed a little bit over time, as these ideas typically do. but I realized that I need to bring in staging, I need to bring in lights, I need to bring in all that kind of good stuff, which we did into the theater. We also brought in Unreal Engine, so we brought these little tracking devices in the ceiling so we can do virtual sets and all that kind of good stuff. Bought all the video equipment. Obviously, we had all the audio gear, the cameras, all that kind of good stuff. We brought it in. I still didn't actually know how we were going to get to the outside world. I thought we'd figure it out once we get there. And two people popped up, two groups popped up. One was Dolby, and who we've been working with for many years in the motion picture business. And the other one was IMAX. So Dolby reached out and said that they were developing some technology that allowed them to push Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos down to the iOS world and TV iOS world. Would we want to technically partner with them? And the obvious answer is yes. And so we did. And so they had free reign of this place, and we had access to all their knowledge and technology and that sort of thing. So we did a bunch of test shows, and and it was great. We figured a lot of things out, and part of the deal was that they would pretty much give me a lot of the stuff that they developed, which they did, which was very nice. They were very honorable, very nice people. And the IMAX also did a bunch of testing with them. They had a slightly different idea about how to distribute stuff, but it was great. We learned a lot. And since then, we've pretty much rebuilt all the tech that they originally gave us. And then I built this thing called Laurel Canyon Live. I can get into the description of what it actually is. So the original idea was that we basically bring acts here, physically here. We shoot them either traditionally or in sort of a live virtual environment with Unreal Engine and so on and so forth, and then push that out through Akamai, which was the CDN of choice at the time. And that Akamai basically touches pretty much everywhere in the world. And then that goes out directly to an app, and you can watch it on any of your iOS devices, and then also Android, and now we're adding Roku into that space. But we did actually.
Can I jump in real quick there, John?
Of course,
You showed me the night that I was up at your house at the Ross house. You showed me your phone, and there was a concert that you were streaming at that moment somewhere.
Yeah.
I forget who it was. And it's not just, it's a complete, I don't even know how to give it justice in words, but it's a complete different experience than, if you're watching a YouTube video, or you're watching something stream. I don't, it pops from the screen. So is that Dolby Atmos? Is that, what is that
Yes.
technology that makes, and what is Dolby Atmos,
Yeah.
by the way, if you don't mind describing?
Sure.
But it pops. I mean, it's like you're there almost,
Yeah.
right? I
Well,
mean, the
that's
sound
the
and the
Dolby.
visual.
Exactly. That's the Dolby Vision side of things. The idea is, people have pushed live things into YouTube and so on and so forth. Most of it is pretty low rent. I hate to say, the image and the sound quality is utilitarian. What we're trying to do here is create sort of the best seat in the house situation for an audience member, right? So how do you do that? You have to give them cool immersive sound, and you have to give them imagery that pops, as you said. So what you saw actually was a concert that we did with Brandon Carlisle for IMAX that was done actually on my pool deck out here, and that went live to IMAX theaters. It's now on HBO. In fact, if you watch it on HBO, I think it's called In the Canyon Haze with Brandon Carlisle. HBO bought it later on. But that was done live. That was literally one take for 90 minutes. And that was Sam Wrench who directed it, who also did the Taylor Swift concert movie.
So you know what? That's how I said I couldn't find words. That's what it's like. Actually, it's like if you're at the concert and you've got, like everybody does, their phones pointed at the artist and the stage, and you've got the sound around you and all that. It's like if you looked up and there's the artist on stage and the lights. That's what it's like. It's like you're holding the phone in your hand watching it, but you're at the concert. You're in the moment. Maybe that's the best way for me. That's how it felt to me.
That is the whole idea, basically, so that we
Mhm.
can elevate that experience. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get the horsepower from a handheld devices, and that's why we go to the Apple TVs of the world and things along those lines, which a lot of people have some pretty sophisticated systems which they can play it on, and also because we're pushing in Atmos, it allows you to experience it if you have, your like the new earbuds or things along those lines, and they have the whole binaural immersive feel to them.
Yeah.
So it really gives you a sense of being there, which is exactly what we're trying to do. I love the term "the best seat in the house" because that's basically what it is. So that is one aspect of how we're doing it. As I said, it morphs and it changes. We've developed a newer technology now that allows us to not only do things here, which there's a limit to the scale that you could do them at, but we have a rack, and we think of it as like an umbilical cord that goes from here to wherever that artist happens to be. And these racks can go on tour with artists. They capture either 20 or 40 cameras, depending on what piece of hardware we put in them. 128 channels or 192 channels of audio, 24-bit 48K uncompressed audio from the location. We control that rack from here. So think of this place as a OB truck, but an OB truck with a full-size IMAX room, full-size Atmos room, as opposed to a 10 by 8 square or 8 by 8 square to try and mix theatrically, which is impossible. And so we're basically gathering that information from the location and bringing it back here, doing live post-production, color timing, all that kind of good stuff, and obviously the mixing portion of it. That then gets dropped into up into AWS now is our partner with that, and then that streams everywhere in the world. But the whole idea, once again, is to elevate that experience. It's not YouTube. It's not Facebook Live or think Twitch.
It's incredible. You got to experience it. You got to check it out. I'm gonna give you. You can find the app everywhere on all the various app places where you get an app. Laurel Canyon Live. Go and download that. It's really incredible, John. All this from a vision again. What's next? And you're ahead. Well, let's talk about this on the other side of the break. But you're ahead. You're right pre-COVID, and it's almost like you saw where it was going, and you've had tremendous success from the artists that have used the your services. It's incredible. Let's talk about more on the other side. Laurel Canyon Live. I'm talking with John Ross. John Ross is the founder and the president of Laurel Canyon Live, and an amazing man, an amazing life, and he's bringing us. He's innovating, and we get to benefit from all of that. Again, it's Laurel Canyon Live. Go download it now on the App Store or wherever you get your apps, and check it out on laurelcanyon-live.com. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.